Welcome to the Don't Call Me Midlife podcast.
Good morning.
How are you? I am so excited about this modern mom date. We have Julie, who is a busy mom of two. She is in the Boston area. She is the co-founder of an organization called Mom to Mom, where her and a co-founder are trying to break the stigma against mental health. And she is also, I just have to say, one of my very dear besties. I met her when I was actually pregnant with Baker. So she is bringing to light some really important topics that are serious, but something that needs to be talked about.
100%. I am very much a pro mental health advocate, and Julie has started this Mom to Mom, and it is just so important. And I'm just, ready to dive into this, and maybe this will touch someone and help them in a way that they didn't know they needed.
Yeah. So keep listening if even if you feel like you are feeling overwhelmed as a mom, or you know someone that is feeling overwhelmed, or even if you're not, this is just a really good discussion about mental health and holistic health, and also helping our teens. So listen, and we hope that you enjoy it. We have a really special modern mom date. We have Julie on here, and it's special because she is one of my oldest mom besties. I literally met her when I was pregnant, and she had just had her first son, Aiden. So she is one of my dearest, bestest friends. So thank you, Jules, for taking the time to come on today. Nicole and I are so excited to talk to you.
Thanks, Julie.
I'm so excited to be here. This is not the way I usually start.
And I just want to tell the ladies who are listening that both of these ladies have so much in common. When I was thinking about them last night, when I first met both of them, they were just, and I've said this a lot about Nicole, they were both very cool people. Like, they just have this like vibe where you're like, I want to be friends with them. They also are both unbelievably beautiful on the inside out, and they both always know how to dress. It is amazing. I mean, they're texting pictures of shirts today, and I'm like, I'm lucky I took a shower. So they both, I'm just excited about this conversation. It's a serious but needed topic. And so just bringing to light, let's just start out, Nicole. What is in your cup?
Well, I have some matcha this morning, so I'm trying to shake things up a bit. Yeah, matcha with some almond milk. So I'm being adventurous, stepping out of my coffee.
You always have fancy drinks. I just have a cup of coffee in my to-go mug because it's summertime and I am in the car a lot. And it's probably, maybe you guys have guessed, it's like my third cup of coffee. So I'm good.
I can't. What's in your cup, Julie?
Well, I have my Stanley because Alex loves Stanleys, and my cup today is filled with a grapefruit element. Yeah. You guys know those LMNT. It's salty electrolyte water. Lest you think I'm some crazy like hydration person. No, I've already had 2 massive cups of coffee. There could be a third in my future, but for now,
we do love our coffee. Hydrate. We do love LMNT, except for Nicole.
I think I'm going to have to try it again. My sister-in-law told me that it needs to sit a little bit longer. So
you're like high maintenance LMNT, Nicole.
It's like
I put it in margaritas, you guys. I put the lime.
The grapefruit one?
It's so good.
Interesting.
It's good.
I do have to say, okay, I'm a big fan of the Stanley. I love Stanley. However, I've noticed that the straw is giving me like deep lines around my upper lip.
Wait, is this a real thing, you guys?
I said this yesterday to my husband, and he literally said, so I've heard, because I was drinking it the other day, and I never smoked. So I never had like
smokers,
but all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And they're like, well, Mom, just take out the straw. I'm like, oh, but anyway, I just thought I'd put that out.
Well, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that, ladies. Okay. Because I have like Stanleys all my time.
Yeah.
So let's ask Julie before we get into this topic of what do you think, Julie, about midlife?
I'm rolling with the punches. I think it's fine. Do I think it's amazing?
Yes.
I think it's fine.
I'm not sure. I think it's fine. It's fine. Like, okay, what's my alternative?
You're like, I'm
Let's
good.
start
I'm
there.
good. I'm good.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in like all the things, anything that's going to help you get through it with greater ease or more confidence. So trust me, I do all that stuff. I'm cool with it.
You're friends.
Midlife
Okay.
and
Well,
I
we're
are
not going to be here
friends.
forever, guys. You know, I like that.
I like that.
We're, you know,
No,
yeah.
we're gonna long for this some days, ladies. Let me just be
Yes,
the bearer of the
yes.
bad
When I
news
told
here.
Alex this lasts
I like
for 20
it.
years, he's like, "Are you serious right now?"
I mean,
Surprise.
there are some things happening that, trust me, are less than ideal. But again, like, what am I going to do? I'm just trying to embrace.
Okay, I think
So it's
we're
fine.
all on the same page here. So
Yeah.
Julie is a busy mom. She lives in the Boston area as well, and she started an organization that I would love for you to tell us about. It is called Mom to Mom. It's in the South Shore of Massachusetts, and she did this. She also has a full-time job, and so this organization, is very personal to her. So I'm proud of her for doing this, and I want from your story, tell us about the organization and why you started it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a couple super, super quick disclaimers. First, I'm not the only founder. There is somebody else who founded it with me. I'll tell you a little bit about how that came to be in a sec. And the other thing is, Mom to Mom, it is a peer-to-peer resource group that came together to break the stigma around mental health. People don't want to talk about mental health. So we put together this like consortium of women who do want to talk about it. But I just want to let everybody here know, like, we are not therapists. We are not offering life-saving advice. We are just trying to normalize a conversation around mental health because we feel it needs to become super duper normal. So I know why Alex is crying. Alex is one of my best friends and we're super close, and she knows my backstory. My backstory is this. I used to feel that being a suicide loss survivor was something for them. It was something for, I don't know, anybody, but not me. It's like, whoa, when I heard about, suicide, that felt like it was on like an island and I was on a different island and I would just never be part of that island until one day. And I'm really open about my stuff. But just for your audience, I am going to try to speak in generalities about the person I've lost from suicide out of respect for those in the person's life who aren't as open. So 2018, I mean, I felt like I was shot by a gun. I truly fell when I found out that a loved one had taken their life. And I was thrown into a world of hurt that I didn't even know existed. Like, to quote our girl Taylor, I was down bad. Like, I was down so bad. It was so hard. And, I got really lucky. I mean, number one, I ran to a therapist, did not walk, ran. I wouldn't say that person saved my life because my life was never in danger. But I had her help and she was amazing. And then I had these friends like coming out of the woodwork. So one of my friends, Emily, she came to me and we were sitting on my porch and she was asking me how my loved one died. And I told her straight up and honestly, my loved one took their life. And she and I were talking and we were just talking about mental health. And I shared with her that this person, I don't think had ever really been comfortable with the concept of seeking medical help, mental health. That wasn't their thing. And Emily shared, well, I've struggled. My family members have struggled with mental health and we have gotten help and here are all the things like we've done. And, people seek treatment just like they would if there was cancer or an ulcer or whatever, right? Some common theme. And it was kind of this moment of like, you and I are different sides of the same coin. Like, you are the side of I did something and I'm the side of what happens when you don't. And we in 2018 said, oh my gosh, like, should we just come together and start talking about this shit because nobody else is. And if we don't talk about it, nothing's going to change. So we didn't do anything for a minute, kind of went our separate ways a bit. And unfortunately, in my little cute town, I live in this beautiful, quaint seaside town, and we have had our share of suicides. And there was a woman in town who passed, and Emily and I were just like, this is enough. Like, this is enough, right? We're just gonna get moving on this project that we thought about 4 years ago at the time. And we put together Mom
So
Town
when did that
Hingham.
start, Jules? What year did you start it?
Yeah, well, the concept was kind of like conceived in 2018. Dang, it was a long pregnancy. We were like pregnant with the idea until November 22, I think it was. And then in early 2023, we just started saying, okay, well, who has a different perspective? Like, I'm a suicide loss survivor. Emily's somebody who has personal reflections and experiences with mental health. What could we do? Like, who else could we bring? So our group was like a social worker, maybe two, a licensed psychologist, a nurse, really interesting, a select person in our town. And they were like school counselors. Oh my gosh, guys, the things happening with the teens. And it's like consortium of people with disparate backgrounds who all just wanted to say, hey, we struggle with mental health. It's all good as long as you make it so. And we put together peer-to-peer support groups and just started.
Was it popular? Not popular, but were people flocking to your groups right away, or was it like a slow trickle? How did that come about?
Well, it's interesting, and I'm happy you asked because, we're trying to do something pretty bold, pretty intrepid. We want to break the stigma of mental health. It's so funny. Like, you listen to podcasts and people will talk about their sex lives, or they'll talk about their health with menopause, right? For our audience, or they'll talk about, a multitude of things, but you really don't hear people talking about like, I'm going through a hard time. I'm not okay. I'm pretty vulnerable right now. You just like don't hear that. So we know what we're doing is hard. And therefore, Nicole, I wish we could say people were like flocking to our groups. What we lacked, however, in quantity, we have had in quality, because I can't tell you how many people have said to us, your group helped me so much. And we have always said, if we even help one person, mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
But we're rejiggering things, right? We're rejiggering things based on a ton of things that have happened locally in Hingham, based on research, based on need. So we're rejiggering things to get better ways for more people to come, whether they say nothing, whether they say something, just playing with formats of it.
Is it people that are struggling themselves, or people that may have loved ones, or is it both?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's kind of both. And like, one of the things about Mom to Mom is we really play by Vegas rules. So we want people to know, look, if you come and you have something on your mind, share it. And Alex, you know nothing about what we discuss in there, and you're one of my closest friends. Like, I can't share, but sometimes it's somebody's got something. Other times we'll do a topic. Like, I spoke about grief. I hate to say it, but I think at our age, guys, so many of us are struggling with
so
grief.
many of us,
And with parents, oh my gosh, it's horrible. But we'll kind of go in a way that the conversation organically.
So what have you found with this stigma, right? Is it, I know us we're all the same age. So we grew up, we didn't talk about any sort of learning challenges. We didn't talk about feelings. We didn't, what have you found in doing this organization? Are people feeling like, oh, if I admit as a mom or a person that I am not doing okay, I'm sort of weak, right? Or it's like, that feeling of, and I know because my mom would say this to me, just because the way we grew up, it's like, fight through it. Like, you can do, and what have you, right?
Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And then go be the Pinterest mom on top of that.
That's what's stressing us out.
Right?
So what have you found in doing your group and talking to people, like the hesitation maybe, Julie, of people talking or coming to the group, or the stigma, or, what education have you done around that sort of breaking that stigma have you found that's most helpful?
I mean, I think you nailed it. I think that is a very, very accurate description of where most people are. I think what is happening, though, is like, maybe because we were told don't talk about your problems, grin and bear it, and we didn't like it. Maybe we're like the change agents, is what I hope, whereby we're going to be the ones who say to our kids, well, a problem shared is a problem halved, or health is top to toe proposition. If your arm were injured, you'd go to the doctor. If your feelings are injured or your brain feels maybe not right, maybe a little injured, you're going to go to the doctor. So I would love to think that we can be those people, but I feel like we see the friction of like, I want to talk about things, but talking about things is taboo. And then we also see, and it sucks, but we also see, and I bet you guys feel this way sometimes, it's like you're on the brink of everything you were saying. Oh, I've got to go throw a Pinterest party, but then I've got to present to a C-level executive. And oh, then I have to put like some dinner on the table. Thank God we have Alex to help us with that. There's like all this stuff coming at you and you just feel like you're kind of tipped. So I think that we, by virtue of seeing the way our parents raised us, the way what our kids need us to be, and feeling like what we actually want to be truthful and open about, like I think we can push through the stigma.
Yeah, sometimes it's that first step, or I have talked to friends, they're like, well, it's just one more thing that I have to do. And it's just like, well,
I know
this is something that you need to do. But it is hard. And then dealing with that grief, like you think you're alone until you really start listening. That's why I feel like this conversation is so important to be had. I mean, I am also a survivor of, I'm sorry, I forgot how you said it. Like a suicide survivor loss. Yes.
Survivor.
So I lost my brother in 2013, I believe, or 12. And it rocked my world. And I had two little ones, and I was just like, you know what? I went through therapy and discovering so much and like learning just how to, know what I'm feeling, because I have to, I have to teach this to my children. And, and these are teens today. Like I feel sad for what is happening, like between, social media and just the state of the world that we're in. It's just so confusing. And I feel like I'm at the point with my kids where I can talk about things and they're like, Mom, do we have to talk about our feelings again? And I'm like, yes.
Yes. And you say yes.
Like, I get that. But yeah, I do. And I'm like, yes, come back here, sit down. But, I'm trying to change that landscape, and I love what you're doing. And I think it's so, so important. And I think more conversations need to be had.
Yeah. And what we're finding too is, okay, so maybe it's a little too radical to just like get people in a room and expect within a small community that people are comfortable sharing, that people feel good about the confidence we try to ensure in our group, the confidentiality that is. We've been feeling like, okay, well, if that's too radical, what more can we do? The other thing, guys, that has become crazy, crazy, crazy apparent due to several things, again, here in my small town, that I do think is representative of rest of world, by the way. But we've had a lot of men,
really,
a lot of men struggling. And, oh yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that. Yeah.
No, because at least while we're supposed to be the glue that holds everything together, at least we, I think, are expected to emote. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, don't tell me I'm an emotional woman at work. Don't do it, because people have done it. That's a topic for another day. But I think men are expected to just really grin and bear it. So we put this together for all the reasons I shared, where women, it's a peer-to-peer support group of moms for moms. What about the dads though? So we are trying to stay mom to mom, but broaden the aperture to include the community more. So things that are happening here in my small town, we're doing the suicide walk in September that I'm so excited about. I know some really awesome women who are putting it together, but certainly it is for the community. I've also met another woman who is bringing the most amazing curriculum to the high school. She took a Yale course on how to be happy and she got them, well, they adapted it for teens, and she is spearheading this trial of it at the school, at our local high school. And like, can I just brag for a second? I'm totally going to get grief for
That's
this.
okay.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, guys, get this. So I ask my kids about their days, like every single day, and they're like, stop asking me about my day. Oh my God. I ask them all the time. Like, Nicole, I'm with you. I'm over indexing on the talking, which they let me know.
Yeah.
And I was in the car with my son on a Saturday. He's like, oh, talking about something totally unrelated. It's like, by the way, I got asked to join the Breathe Out Club. I said, what's the Breathe Out Club? Well, really long story short, at our high school in Hingham, they're putting together like a peer-to-peer teen support group. And I guess you have to be picked to lead it. And I was so thrilled. My son's like, it's kind of like mom to mom, but for like teens.
That's amazing.
So I was really, that was like a top 10 mom moment, I think.
I love that.
Yes.
What do you see?
So things are shifting and happening. It's a long story made short. Things are shifting and happening.
In your groups, do you also talk about teens? Because I was listening to the book, The Anxious Generation. I don't know. It's like a hot book right now. Sort of just about mental health and all the social media and this digital generation. Do you guys talk about also the teens and like in your group too, and what people see with their kiddos, or, you know?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yes. Because it's not just, first of all, you can come and say nothing. You can participate and say nothing. You can talk about you. You can talk about somebody in your world. You can talk about a teen. It's like whatever goes. So certainly moms are definitely trying to help their families too.
Yeah. And it's never too late.
No. And I love what you're saying also. I think Nicole said it about sort of that holistic health, or Julie, you did, from your top down, right? This movement of, you know, you can feel physically healthy, but also mentally healthy. And I think us talking to our kids, because that is definitely a gap I know in my parenting. Like, my mom was never asking, are you okay mentally? Right. Love my mom to death. But it's almost like also this thinking about the holistic health you're saying, and then taking a step back before it gets too far a little bit with moms, right? You both are talking about the feeling of overwhelm, right? It starts there, and that's where it snowballs, right? And the expectations now on us, and it's maybe thinking about changing those expectations of yourself, right? Like, you throw a birthday party, just for example, it doesn't have to be Pinterest worthy, right? You don't have to go to every event you're invited to. You know, all of these things, take a walk, all of these things, starting with sort of that health from a really foundational point could be the movement to help people too. I mean,
totally. And just being honest, like, one of the things that we did in our group is we decided to make it very casual. First of all, we're so lucky. Small plug for my friend, Amanda Krigsman. She has founded Krigsman Yoga, which there's one in here in Hingham, Mass. There's one in Situate. And she offers this like really cool, accepting space. And so we have it there. Then it was, you know, bring a chair or like a beanbag or whatever. I don't know about a beanbag, but like some bolster to sit on. So it was certainly come as you are. It was like stripped down, like minimal makeup, wear your sweats, yoga clothes, whether you did it or not. And we wanted to do that really intentionally. Like, most days I don't put on makeup. I did tonight.
It's a video.
So like,
lucky us.
on camera. So I was 10 minutes late, of course, too, because I'm always skidding in sideways. But it was very much like, we want people to know we're all skidding in sideways in some capacity, and just like, bring you. We don't care about the rest. So I think that's really important, just to own it. Like, I don't have it all together, and so
do you feel like that's also one of these benefits of midlife, right? Nicole and I have talked a lot about this on the podcast, Julie, that, you know, in our 20s and 30s, it was almost like we were trying to be that Pinterest worthy mom. Maybe I speak for myself, right? I would have never probably said to you, Jules, when I met you, I'm feeling this way, right? The only thing people discussed was like postpartum. That was normalized. I feel like that was normalized, you know, 20 years ago when we had our kiddos. But it's, you know, it is just also leaning on each other and knowing that, like, reaching out to your friends. And I love doing this. Tell them that you're there. Tell them that you love them. Like, we can't do that enough. And being honest with ourselves in midlife if we're having a problem. Because I think if someone is feeling a certain way, to normalize it and to tell someone about it, right? I think that's okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's why I'm fine with midlife, Alex. Like, I'm like, I know who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I like learning. I'm still learning. I've come a long way. I'm proud of the shoes that I walk in and fill. I'm proud of the footsteps I'm leaving, and I'm proud of the path ahead. Like, or I'm excited rather of the path ahead. Like, I'm kind of fine with it. I mean, have I looked better? Yes. Have I fit into like a crop top better? Yes, because I'm not wearing one. Have I, XYZ when I was younger? Like, obviously, yes. But I am in a fortunate position, knock on wood. I have my health. I take care of my mental health. I have a great family. I have wonderful friends. Like, what's not to like? I mean, yeah, I have nice sweats. Like, I don't know. I'll take that, I guess, is my point.
So it's in this stage of life, being honest with yourself, but being honest maybe if you need help with something with someone else, right? Because I know for our girls' dinners, and it dawned on me most recently, and it was honestly from starting this podcast, when I'm at girls' dinners and I'm like, wow, someone's saying something that they're like struggling with. I'm like, oh my God, me too, right? It's that like awakening that if you're going through something, someone else that you know well is probably going through the same exact thing. Whether it's a thing with yourself, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your darn teens, because these teens, I mean, Julie, you just sent us our group chat, a reel about our teenagers. And I was like, it is so right on. Like, literally they get mad at us if I breathe. I'm like, oh geez, what did I do wrong? I chew. My kids are always like, when you chew salad, you're so annoying. Oh, jeez. They either, every little thing. Wrong. I could make like chocolate croissants every morning and they'd be like, why did you make chocolate croissants? Like, yeah.
You're so
Oh my gosh. Baker tells me that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Mom,
why,
it's not that deep.
Why are we talking about this again?
I mean,
you're doing too much. Yeah.
Or it'd be like when you make those croissants, you do this weird thing with your left hand.
But thank God we still have our littles. I mean, John Mackey is not like that yet, but he is like teetering, you guys. And I'm like, oh no, put those eyes away. Do not roll those eyes at me. Yeah.
Not yet,
No, we're not ready for you, baby.
Not yet, John.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for being here. This was really, really helpful, and bringing this topic to life, which is really important. And I hope our listeners, ladies, talk about it with their friends, talk about it, with your kiddos. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. This was fun.
Okay. So now we're going to do unsolicited advice. Nicole, what is yours?
My unsolicited advice is to, after talking about this, and I really think it's important to start with the teens and to really connect. But if you have teens, it's going to be hard just to start this. But if you are able to start before their teens and just talk about like how you're feeling, or even like, how are your friends feeling? Because now my kids will talk to me about some of their friends' issues and how they can be a good friend to them. My oldest had a friend in school that recently was cutting himself, and he's like, Mom, I just want to be there for him. So it is happening, whether we want to admit it or not, or look at it, or we don't know what to do, but we can just start by having conversations with our kids about how they're feeling. And when they can connect to what's going on with them, then they can in turn be compassionate and empathetic and leave those like open lines of communication to you, and you can help them in any way possible. And if you don't know how to help them, there are resources out there.
Nicole, do you feel like it's almost, and Julie, normalizing, I was listening to another podcast, normalizing feelings in general, right? Like, we always want our kids to be happy, happy, happy. I want my friends to be happy. I want everyone to be happy. But guess what? The reality is sometimes you're not happy, right? It's not an extreme of being sad,
Right.
but normalizing our kids who are going through puberty. I mean, us going through perimenopause, we go through a lot of emotions, and knowing that doesn't have to last forever, right? When it continues to last, that's a bigger problem. But if you're feeling sad one day, it's okay, right? Exploring all those emotions and having those and experiencing those will make, I think, our kids better adults. It makes us better adults too. So you're so sweet, Nicole. I love that you do that. Your boys are so good. They're lucky to have you.
Thank you. I mean, fundamentally, I feel like as long as they feel loved and attached, like that's where happiness truly blossoms. But if you think about it, how many emotions do you have in a day? I mean, this podcast, I mean, we've had tears, we've laughed. I mean, I don't think that affects my mood. It's just emotions are fleeting. And so
absolutely.
You just, you just have to know, like you have to teach your kids that this emotion is not the end all be all. And if you don't talk about things that are bothering you, then it can snowball. But that's not to say, like, if you don't have a mental health issue on a physiological level, like a serotonin issue where you actually need medication, which is a whole nother issue. But as long as they have that one person to talk to, and I'm just talking about teens. I mean, I think in general, if everybody has that one person to talk to, life would just be,
it'll be good.
Easier for some.
Jules, I know you gave us lots of advice, but what would you say would be your one bit of advice?
Okay, I'll give you like a serious and then something more fun. So for the serious one of the things we get a lot of is how do I get help? Yeah. Be it for you, someone else, your child. There are not enough healthcare providers. So college or high school age grads, it's grad season. Think about a career in psychology. Yeah. We need you. We need you. We need, and not only that, but there's more than just psychology, because talk therapy is amazing. There are other things too. What can you do to respect like overall general wellness? Could you go to acupuncture school? I don't know. That's an amazing thing to do. There's so many things. Could you run a kids camp? Like there's so many things out there that I think we as a society need, and we're starting to get that. If you don't know where to start, think about your pediatrician or your school counselor. Those have both been great resources around here, because sometimes it's hard to get to the help you need right now. So that would be like my serious advice. In terms of my fun advice, guys, I am not a paid endorser of this product, but I'm also not a gatekeeper. I don't gatekeep. I like to share my good shit. I am taking this sleeping aid that is melatonin, chamomile, and vitamins. It's called Friska.
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 Are we going to trust this product?
Friska.
Not
Friska. Not frisky. I was at a cheer competition with my daughter, and this woman was like, I don't know, maybe I looked exhausted or something. She's like, try Friska. And I'm like, oh my God, whoever that person was, she like flew in on angel wings and gave me this amazing tip. I don't take it nightly, but like when I do, oh my God, my sleep scores are bananas. So knowing we all maybe struggle with the sleep thing.
I know our listeners will love it.
Okay,
Friska.
We'll put it in the show notes. Julie and I swear by our Aura rings. Like literally that determines my mood. What is my readiness score? What is my sleep score? My sleep score was so bad in Vegas.
Mine's charging.
My sleep score in Vegas was so bad, it like ruined my whole day. I was like, Alex, this is not okay.
I mean,
you shouldn't take it on.
I should have taken
it to Vegas.
It was the same when we went to London. I remember that. It's really interesting though. You guys gave such good advice, but so I don't have a lot more. But I would say, I think I go back to reach out to a friend today. I think that's my big thing is if you have a friend that's getting a little bit quiet that you normally hear from, I mean, how many times Nicole and I will text, like if we don't hear from her in a day or she doesn't hear from me, it's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like literally that is only the text. And so we're big communicators as midlife ladies, and just simply sending someone an emoji, right? Like just reach out, make sure someone's okay. I'm a big card writer. So it doesn't take a lot to write cards. That's actually how I start my day, is I typically will write cards. I save all my cards or things that I'm going to do in the morning, because keeping the postal system, I go there all the time. So just reach out to, I am
She's
friends with them. When I moved from Boston, I gave the UPS people a present. But anyways, so just think of the way that fits you, whether it's, it could be a funny reel, or it could be something like, just let someone know. People love to be loved, right? And just let them know that they're loved, and tell them.
Absolutely.
You can't tell people enough that. So, well, thank you, Julie, for being on.
Well,
I love both
you,
of
Alex.
you need to meet Nicole in person. We need
Alex.
to, Nicole needs to come to Boston.
I love you too, Julie. Yes, I do. That's the next.
You too, Nicole.
The next.
And I love your friendship, your partnership.
Thank you. So, Julie, I have one more question. What if you were talking about if someone needs help? How can someone find Mom to Mom? Reach out to you. Where can someone, if they want to know more about your organization, or if they want to start one in their own town, how can they find you?
Yeah, we would love for this to be like an unpaid franchise.
Yeah.
There's no fee. You guys just stand it up and do your thing locally. We've kind of made a concerted effort to be a little low profile. I think we're talking around it now. Is it too low profile? But a couple things that we do have. Number one, we have an Instagram page. It's M2M_Hingham. Mm-hmm. That's it. You can ask to follow us. We are also getting more affiliated with the Hingham Anchor. So that's like a hyper-local website that's our town news. And we've put some content there. We're talking to them about putting more content out. But that's really it. We do try to keep, a little bit discreet, just given the topics. But if anybody has questions, you can contact us through Instagram for sure.
Okay, perfect. And if someone can't find it, reach out to Nicole or I, and we will point you in that right direction for sure. But
absolutely.
All right, thanks, Jules. Thanks, Nicole. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.